Well, man, we've got a great show for y'all today. It's a little bit different this week, format-wise. We're gonna go over some of our favorite hunts and then some of the stuff that you didn't get to see this season on Red Arrow TV. My Virginia brothers may wonder why they see me wearing this Alabama hat. And it's because of a guy you know pretty well, man.
I do.
Yeah, John Moore. There's definitely nobody else like him.
Freaking Bama.
We got to the event, the Salute Our Heroes event. John had this Alabama real tree hat, so we swapped hats basically. And I'm not really a superstitious guy, but every time I put on this hat, I've killed a deer or killed something. The first time I tried it out, we were down in Florida, and we had hunted the first day and just kind of scouted around a little bit and hadn't seen a whole lot, doing our thing. And the second day I said, all right, we're gonna get some killing done. And I put on the Alabama hat and killed 3 hogs in one day, so. You know, it's just one of those things where it became lucky right there.
Roll Tide, huh?
Roll Tide,
Well,
baby. So when you hear me saying that.
I was watching the episode with John when it aired.
Oh,
and
yeah?
as soon as he was like, that's my hat. Roll Tide.
You know, one of the things that got cut out of the season, I knelt down over the second hog, or the first hog I shot that year, and my britches split wide open. These hogs, man, they split my britches. Just hear that pop? Freaking rip my pants. How embarrassing is that? Maybe throw a triple stitch in there next time. Well, one of the hunts that we got to do this season was a hunt with Carl Davidson Alligators. And you know, the daggone things, when you're stalking them on the ground, they got a nose like a whitetail and they can feel vibrations in the ground. It's actually a pretty hard stalk, and you know, it is a big time adrenaline rush when you actually get it done. He played Charlie Daniels through the speakers one year by accident, trying to play a Gator CD.
No word.
Carl's the trip, man. If you ever get a chance, you know, Carl's the man to hunt with, dude. He knows his stuff for sure.
So Kip, out there in the Milk River, do you really see that many deer
Dude,
in Montana?
The first 2 days, you're just trying to get your jaw to stop dropping, just seeing all these bucks coming out.
He's done. You're tagged out in Montana.
You know, Josh and I edit the show, and the Montana show was one I hadn't seen until, you know, he had edited the darn thing. And I'm watching it, and oh yes, man, it's a great show and everything. All of a sudden, I'm walking through the woods, and I had left my shoelaces untied, and I trip over my own feet and fall on this deer. I'm thinking at least Josh would at least leave it till the outtakes. Oh no, it's all up in the middle of the show, man. I mean, it's right there in the, just like it happened. You know, Maryland's sort of a sleeper state for big bucks, man. I mean, it's a ton of big deer up there where Chad lives. And the deer Chad killed, he comes in and he plants his face in this water hole and just starts drinking. He sits there forever, torturing Chad. And finally, you know, he turns to go off and quartering hard away and real alert, 50-yard shot. Tough shot. The deer definitely reacted though. You can see on the video he dropped like a foot. Chad still, you know, was enough though to get in there and get that liver. Obviously got a little bit of spine and he got some of the artery going down the spine, but put the deer down for sure. One of the hunts that stuck out to me more than anything else on this season was the hunt where you and Josh went out.
I'll tell you what, it was a heck of a evening before we went out and watched Everwild and filmed those guys. And you know, Josh and I always set a curfew. We say, all right, you know, 10 o'clock, you know, we're done.
A little rough,
11
man.
o'clock, we're done. You know, then 11 turns into 12, and 12:30 turns into 1:30,
Yeah.
and the next thing you know, you're helping the band pack up, you
Yeah.
know, before you go pack up your hunting gear for the next morning. But I go to pull up my bow, and ain't nothing
No
there.
bow, yeah.
So I just look up at Josh, and he's just shaking his head like, you know, what are you thinking? So, you know, it all came together. We had one come right underneath our tree stand, right on the string, and you know, we're all getting excited. You know, I've already got my buck down, and Josh and I have been looking after, you know, putting a double down for several years, and it's come close. We've never gotten a chance to work it out. So, and I don't know if I didn't believe it or what, but I'm looking through my binoculars there. I'm looking at the deer. I'm making sure it's a shooter for Josh. My plan was to get back on the camera, and Josh, you know, looked back up at him again, and he just, you know, he just gives me this disgusted look on his face, and he just says, "Do your job," you know. And I'm immediately click right back into, you know, I'm doing my job. I'm a cameraman. I'm here to document the experience. I'm not here to hunt.
Right.
Do your job, baby. Do your job. A double.
I mean, like I said, we probably waited 4 years for a moment like that. We
Yep.
finally got it. So, especially in Virginia, you know, Kip and Josh get a great opportunity to travel the world, travel the country to get these big bucks. But here in Virginia, every single deer, no matter how big they are, is absolutely
That's
just
the
a
truth,
blessing
man.
for us.
Especially
Yeah.
where we live, man. That's the truth. Well, what you said, man, I mean, Matt and Dan Nichols and all their guys that they play with, I mean, from Everwild to, you know, Mosley Rose, we've been super fortunate to have guys of that talent level to participate in the show and give us music to use in the show. I mean, it's rare to have access to somebody that awesome, I mean, at what they do. I mean, they're great musicians, all of them, man. It adds a lot to the show for sure. Well, you look at Cut in this video and see how excited he was, and I was just as excited, like literally just as excited, because he had come through really and saved the show that week. And all the time and money we invest in trying to get these deer killed on video, and
We did it. We had 5 minutes left in our hunt. 5 minutes left. And that junker came in straight downwind. I put my 20-yard pin on him and smacked him. You don't know how pumped I am right now,
I
man.
mean, it wouldn't have been a show without them. We had one doe kill, and you have to produce a halfway fast-paced, exciting show, and one doe kill just not gonna cut it. You know, the one thing that I can't believe that we forgot to do was make fun of Cut's face paint, dude. I mean, the rules of Red Arrow, basically, one of them is you have to wear face paint because it looks badass. We had a Red Arrow camera school. We might need to have probably a Red Arrow face paint school. So I would have to say my favorite hunt, and people ask me this all the time, my favorite hunt from last season would definitely have to be our Illinois hunt. We kind of took a break from the hunt and headed out to St. Louis to see my buddy Zac play a concert out there. And just, I mean, it was just the coolest situation because you just never know how bands as famous as the Zac Brown band, like how it's gonna be or how you're gonna be treated once you get there. Dude, it was like we were family. I mean, everybody, from everybody that works with him to the whole band, I mean, everybody was just down to earth and super easy to hang out with. That's just like, half of it. Then we go back to Illinois and we're hunting this 160-inch 10-pointer and a daggone stud of a 9-pointer comes walking in. He comes in downwind, kind of gets a sense that something ain't right, He doesn't really spook super bad. He just kind of just bounds off a couple steps and he comes right back down. Sees the other buck that's messing with his doe. Snort wheezes on video, which I've only seen one other time in the wild. Runs this other buck off, and it's looking like for a second there, it's like, daggone, I missed my opportunity. I had him at 17 yards, and I was fighting off a cough the whole hunt. I mean, you guys know what that's like, man. I mean, you're sitting there the whole hunt trying not to cough, and you're like, in your coat, doing all that stuff, and this deer gets out there 45, 46 yards. I'm at full draw, and I try to go, man. And I couldn't make a noise to save my life. I mean, it was like one of those dreams where you're sitting there and you can't move or something. And I just coughed all over my mat. If that makes any sense. That if somebody's watching this show, it's not a hunter. They're like, coughed all over your mat. What are you talking about? Josh saves the day around it, but we shot all day and got bored with the regular trying to just shoot at it. So me and Isaac started shooting behind the back a little bit. I brought my AR. They let that thing bark a little while. Yeah. Shot a couple thousand rounds, I think. Everybody from Lou Dave's to everybody was getting down on that and just shooting a little bit. And
we come up out of this little waddy and hit as a double stack in. I tanked mine with a 40-pound bag of homemade explosive. And it blew up right underneath me.
Then we opened up a refrigerator and there were two 100-pound bombs inside. And I was about 5 feet away when it exploded.
It's good to get out and get back in the woods,
I told him to scream and make a lot of noise so that I knew he was breathing. And I went to stand up, and that's when I finally looked down and realized what was going on. And I put 2 tourniquets on him and gave him my last thing of morphine.
Get you away from the craziness that goes on at the hospital,
A lot of people will never know what the cost of our freedom is, that we're able to go out here and hunt and fish and do all this really, cool stuff that us rednecks like to do. But
that's right.
I lost one of one of my really, really close friends in Iraq in 2005, and that's how we started this whole organization through the because of the loss of my friend Jayton Patterson.
People said, what can we do for you? I said, what can we do? And I said, this is what you can do for me. I said, never forget him. Never forget his life. Never forget his sacrifice. Don't do anything for me, but never forget him and what he's done for us.
You see that firsthand, man. It changes your whole perspective on what it means to be free and live in this country. I mean, you said that's the cost of our freedom, and that's exactly right. And I don't think a lot of people take the time to appreciate that.
To shoot 6 inches over a doe's back when a year and a half ago he was laid up in a hospital bed, not
just
knowing
the fact that he's out there. Just the fact that he's out there.
Not knowing that if he'd ever be able to even get out there and do it. To me, that's the accomplishment. That to me is what hunting's all about. It's just getting out there and enjoying the outdoors, and I can't thank y'all enough for everything y'all have done.
Well, I'm grateful as the founder of Freedom Alliance, and on behalf of all those you've helped, for what you, Kip West, has done and what Red Arrow TV is doing for these young American girls.
Well, I guess since the fire's dying down and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and Josh has to be at his church to film the church service in 45 minutes, we better just wrap this one up. I mean, I think we've shown you at least a piece of what we didn't show you during the season, and we've shown you some of our highlights. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a little bit of behind the scenes look at Red Arrow TV, and thanks for watching the show. Look forward to next year for sure. Keep up with us on Facebook. We've got a whole new format coming at you next year. It's gonna be a whole new deal. Check out some sneak peeks on Facebook, and we really appreciate y'all watching the show. I just want to say for the record while we're rolling that we did actually hunt today. I didn't just put camo face paint on. You guys left me hanging on the face paint deal. Kip didn't hunt. He's got an excuse. What's your excuse? There you go. That's better.
Quick, touch on that John Moore thing.
I wouldn't touch on John Moore's thing. Kip West had. We appreciate y'all watching us here in Central Virginia. I mean, this is where we all grew up, and we're not going to get away from that on this show. I mean, we're not going to turn Hollywood on Red Arrow TV. I can promise you that. Are we done? Did we get that? It's about time now. I'm about ready to go to somewhere they got some big bucks. All right, Mike, come on, we in the second field. It's hard to find a good helicopter pilot today. I don't know what is going on. Michael Waddell probably has a good helicopter pilot. Remember how I told y'all about making it rain? That's what I'm gonna be doing every night. Dollar bills, y'all. About time, Mike.